Enjoy the show.
Better late than never. What up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode number 115 of Siriani Says Sports. And obviously, elephant in the room, we're a little bit late. Some things happen that we can't really control. But we're here. We're going to put up a really good show for you guys. Ryan Barron Jr., Rollo Antonio, Matt Siriani here. We're going to start off the show on a couple of things really quick. But before we start off, Siriani Says Sports is brought to you by the following: Outback Steakhouse, Aussie Rules, Rocco's Original Italian Ices, a sweet summertime treat all year round. By Integrated Planning Group, client-focused, advice-driven. By the Great Foundation of New York, support, empower, educate, enhance. We're also brought to you by Jag1 Physical Therapy, official therapy provider for the teams you love. We're brought to you by Jag1 Physical Therapy, simplifying DAS technology, consulting, simplifying technology. And we're also sponsored by Valix Enterprises, building projects for success. So anyway, I'm Matt Siriani, and as you can probably tell, I'm on the ground, but I'm not in a good mood. I'm not in a good mood because of certain things that happened technologically. But at the end of the day, I'm here to promote the best content for you guys. And also, I want to dedicate this show to my grandmother, Vivian Sorrentino. It's her 74th birthday today, and she's a very, very awesome human being. And I can't be on this planet alive and well and functioning without someone like her. So, Grandma, I love you. Happy birthday. And that right there is Ryan Barron Jr. still in his dorm. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing good, Maddie. Just kind of big chilling tonight, but yeah, I'm excited.
Awesome. And then Lauro Antonio from Burbank, California, always with us again. How you doing, Lauro? Oh, Lauro, your mic's off.
Sorry, my computer was just a little acting up weird, but again, sorry to keep you guys waiting. And I'm doing good. I'm looking forward to a great show.
Awesome. So I can't wait for this show. Let's get right started. So before we actually get started to talking about sports, we have to have a little bit of a moment of silence. For those of you who are unaware of what happened in college football, Mississippi State head coach Mike Leach passed away today due to conditions with his heart. He was 61 years old. It was very, very tragic in the world of college football. Mississippi State is looking for a new head coach. Mike Leach was a brilliant offensive mind for Mississippi State and in all college football. He won 158 games as a college head coach. But unfortunately, like I said again, he will be gone. He's gone. He's 61 years old, gone way too soon. And I think to really pay respect for him, I think it's fitting that we have a moment of silence. So please, let's just bow our heads and just remember what Mike Leach did for college football. Thank you. Now, with that all out of the way, we have a lot of stuff to get to, and we're going to be done at 10 o'clock. I promise we'll be done at 10 o'clock. We're going to talk about our fantasy football. We're talking fantasy football for the first time in, I think, 3 or 4 months, because Ryan Jr. and I both made the playoffs in the Siriani Says Sports Fantasy League, and we're going to talk about our matchups, and we're also going to talk about our roster moves and what we're going to do this week. We're also going to talk a little football. We have a lot of injuries on the gridiron this past weekend. So who's in, who's out, and who's banged up and but questionable to go. We're also going to talk about some MLB free agency. That's Low Road Knows for you. And then we're going to go into our games that we are going to dive into and really break down in our own little way. And we're each going to get one game. And then we're going to have our picks based on the spread, and that's going to be the show. But anyways, let's get started. So, fantasy, football, fantasy.
How long have you been waiting to do that?
Football, fantasy, trophy.
How long have you been waiting to do that?
A long time. So, Laurel, I don't know if you saw this already. You might have seen this on social media, but this is the Siriani Says Sports Fantasy Football Season 2 trophy. What do you think?
It's like the Heisman Trophy here, man. I mean, it looks really good, man.
This is sponsored by crownawards.com. If you ever want to get a trophy for fantasy football or anything like that, Crown Awards is a really, really good website where you can get this kind of stuff. So I advise you to go on crownawards.com for trophies like that. But anyway, Ryan Jr. and I both clinched playoff spots on Sunday and Monday, respectively, this past weekend. And what happened was we made the playoffs as wildcard teams, but we both have an 8-6 record. The other two teams that made the playoffs are both 12-2. There are little cousins, well, my little cousin Joe and his brother Joe, and our little cousin Derek, who's also 12-2. bottom line is the playoffs are filled with young guns, and we're really looking forward to having a showdown for that trophy and also the money that's at stake. So anyway, Ryan, you've been talking a lot of smack about the playoffs and what you're going to do and how well you're going to perform. Tell us what your matchup is going to be and what your roster is for everyone who hasn't seen fantasy football in a long time.
Yeah, so first off, I am obviously excited that I'm in the playoffs. I felt like I've kind of deserved it the whole season, but I'm good. I'm happy I'm in, but definitely I'm playing Derek, which is definitely not an easy matchup. I don't know if I'm favored or if I'm the underdog. I would assume I'm probably the underdog, but again, we'll see. But for the lineup, Maddie, just kind of the standard. We got obviously Jalen Hurts as the best quarterback in fantasy, obviously. Hopefully Josh Jacobs is able to go. Hopefully Ken Walker is able to go. Then we got Stephon Diggs. We're gonna have DK Metcalf. We're gonna have hopefully Dallas Goedert, Amari Cooper, and then the Eagles defense, and finally Evan McPherson to round out the starting roster.
Okay. Not bad. Now here's my roster. My roster is a little bit different from what it was in week 1. But for what I have right now, for what it's worth, Dak Prescott's my quarterback in fantasy. My 2 running backs are Miles Sanders, and I get Jonathan Taylor back. That's huge. My wide receivers are Adam Thielen for now, and then I also have Devontae Smith as well. I also have, I'm trying to think who else I have. Deebo Samuel is not going to play probably for the rest of the season. He's out for 3 weeks. And then I also picked up, I'm going for another receiver. I'm trying to think who my other receiver is. Oh, Michael Pittman Jr. Michael Pittman Jr. is my other receiver that I have. My tight end is Mark Andrews. Hopefully he has a good game. Finally, I've been waiting for a long time for him to have a good game.
No Lamar, Maddie. I don't know how that's going to work out for you.
Yeah, I know. That's going to be a tough one. But I have support on the bench just in case. And then my kicker is Brett Maher of the Dallas Cowboys. I have the Raiders defense. Don't know how that's going to work out. And then also I have a bench that is pretty consistent. I have Zonovan Knight of the New York Jets on my bench. I might put him in depending on – actually, no, Miles Sanders has been hot. But Zonovan Knight's a good person to have on my bench. I got Gerald Everett, my backup tight end, just in case I feel like switching the tight ends out because Mark Andrews has been cold for quite a bit. And as far as other moves are concerned, I'm going to keep that confidential. But I'm playing Joe. I'm a 6-point underdog, and I'm the 4 seed. So I'm playing the best team of the 4. And hopefully I I shock the world and win the whole thing. Now,
it would be shocking the world, Maddie. I'm not going to lie to you.
I would shock the world if I won the whole thing. Now, for those of you who don't know or actually don't pay attention to it, there are preseason projections that said that I was number 1 team in the entire league of the 10 of us. And I've been trying to hold on to that standard for a long time. I won the first 3 games, and I was up and down for a majority of the season. But I hung on and made the playoffs, and now I'm ready to fight. And this is actually for Chris Jericho. You want to know who Chris Jericho is? Chris Jericho is the #1 super fan for Siriani Says Sports, the #1 supporter, and he also won the fantasy league last year. So, Chris, this is for you. If I win, this is all for you, man. I'm fighting for you. Now, I want to actually ask a quick question. I'm going to put Laura on the spot for a little bit. Laura, have you ever played fantasy football?
Somewhat, yeah, but it's not real. I mean, I don't really. I mean, I do it just for fun. I don't do it for like playoff stuff and all that.
Oh man, I was gonna say, Laurel, if you really wanted to, I could help you out. If you ever want me to you need guidance for fantasy, I can invite you to the fantasy league next year.
Yeah, you should definitely invite me to the Siriani Says Sports Fantasy Football League.
Yeah, I would help you out. I'd be like a little guidance counselor. Hi, Shardul, how you doing? We got Shardul Gupta, also a big supporter of Talking Sports with Laura Matt, the sister show for Siriani Says Sports.
And also, Chris is also the our #1 fan of Talking Sports.
Yeah, Chris Jericho's been awesome.
That's our sister show.
That's our sister show. But anyway, I'm going to tell you this, Lauro. If Ryan and I both make it to the championship, there's going to be a heck of a lot of mind games. Like a lot of mind games.
No mind games. Maddie. It's just yeah. classic battle to the death, and then the winner just. Let's just say it depends on who the winner is. Let's just say that.
Yeah. So I think if I'm correct, I think we're the 4 youngest competitors in the field of 10, and we're all fighting.
We are.
Wow, that just makes it even kind of cool.
Well,
and actually, this is a new playoff field.
Actually, no, we're not the 4 youngest.
Oh, Mikey's up there too.
Mikey. So 4 out of the 5. Like
4 out of the 5 youngest competitors in the field.
Yeah.
And also, I just want to rehash one thing too. This is a completely new playoff field. Last year, the 4 people that made it to the playoffs last year, none of them made it this year. So a whole new playoff field, a lot of intensity, a phenomenal trophy to go with it. This should be fun, and I'm looking forward to it. And Ryan, good luck to you. Derek and Joe, if you're watching, good luck to the both of you. And but yeah. I'm gonna do my damnedest to win this whole thing.
Oh, we damn well know you are, Maddie.
All right, but anyway, that's all fantasy football talk. Well, if Ryan and I make the championship, we'll do fantasy football previewing again. But it's time for the NFL because we have a lot of injuries to discuss. A lot of injuries on the gridiron this past weekend, and we're gonna start off with Deebo Samuel, who's I think the most notable guy who's injured this week. He, according to what I heard, he avoided a serious MCL sprain, or he did tear his MCL a little bit, and a little bit of an ankle injury as well. But he is expected to miss 3 weeks. He should be back before the playoffs. He suffered a nasty injury against the Buccaneer game on Sunday. But word is he should be okay. Kyler Murray, on the other hand, is not okay. He tore his ACL. He will be out for the rest of the season and probably going to miss a decent chunk of the regular season next year as well. Then we go to Mike White, who came back in the game 3 times against the Buffalo Bills after taking a hit from Matt Milano and just battling through a rib injury the whole game. He earned my respect, even though the Jets lost that game. Like, he earned a lot of people's respect for how tough that guy really is. He has a rib injury. I guess he would play next week against the Lions, but who knows? And then you got Russell Wilson. He's banged up. Ryan, what other injuries have you heard about?
I think you kind of hit the important ones. I know. Obviously, we saw yesterday in the Patriots game, Ramondre Stevenson, Devontae Parker. I don't think there was any glaring ones that happened on Sunday. I don't remember. I know Jacobs with his calf on Thursday again. He re-aggravated. That guy's been battling that for like 3 weeks now. But no, nothing really, I guess, crazy out of it outside of the ones you named. Obviously, the Deebo one and the Kyler one are the 2 big ones, obviously.
Now, Lauro, any major injuries that you've seen other than the ones I just mentioned?
Well, you got to talk about Kyler Murray, who tore his ACL last night against the Patriots, and he is out for the season. Lamar Jackson, I don't know when he's coming back. I mean, he's still dealing with a knee issue. And then Ramondre Stevenson is day-to-day. I don't think he'll play Sunday against the Raiders. And then Russell Wilson is in concussion protocol.
Russell Wilson. Wait, you said you do not think, or you do think Ramondre is going to play?
I don't think well, it's 50-50. We'll see how he feels during the week.
Laura, I hope you're right that he's not playing. So please don't play Ramondre.
And the reason why is because Ramondre Stevenson is going up against Ryan's fantasy team. That's the reason why.
Yes.
That's the reason why. But you mentioned Lamar Jackson. That's an interesting one. The Ravens also might not have Tyler Huntley, their backup quarterback, playing, as he's in concussion protocol. They might have to rely on Anthony Brown, the rookie out of Oregon, to play quarterback for them next week, which can be really tough for the Baltimore Ravens because they've been struggling offensively. They barely got by the Pittsburgh Steelers, but they barely survived. And for other news and updates, there was a little bit of a story that I want to talk about. Desmond Ridder is going to be the starting quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons this week. Marcus Mariota left practice after he found out that he wasn't going to start. That's kind of bad. That's a bad look on him. It's a bad look on the Falcons. And Laura, I know you and I talked about Desmond Ridder. You know, he was going to start eventually, and I know you like the guy coming out of Cincinnati, but how bad of a look is this for Marcus Mariota to bolt out of practice like that?
It's a bad look for him. And, you know, I really think that if you look at it, Marcus Mariota, he was I thought he was going to last the whole season, but it didn't look like it because the Falcons are kind of falling off a cliff a little bit.
They are, and amazingly, they still have a chance to win the NFC South, which is a very bad division.
I wonder why. Imagine when you don't use your best player, but besides the point.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we'll get into that another day. But we're going to get back into NFL a little bit. I know we're rushing through the show a little bit. I'm sorry. We just have a lot of stuff going on. But we're going to get into Loro Knows right now because Loro, I know there's been a lot of baseball stuff going on. And you could tell me what those news and updates are as far as free agency goes. We're going to talk about Aaron Judge getting that 9-year, $360 million contract. And then what are some other rumors that you've heard? So let's start off with the latest signees that have happened.
Well, the latest signees is obviously Aaron Judge signing that 9-year deal with the Yankees worth $360 million. And then you also talk about other signees such as Kodai Senga, who is now a New York Met. I mean, that is a big signee for them. Great pickup. I mean, Senga was an ace in Japan, and I think he'll be an ace for the Mets. And then you talk about Sean Murphy being traded from the A's to the Braves, and that's going to make their lineup even more scarier and lethal. And then you talk about Fernando Tatis Jr. on the trade block, potentially to the Yankees. I don't see it happening. Tatis is going to remain a Padre. I see him in left field for the time being.
Agreed.
And then I also know that Correa is on the Giants' radar. So is Dansby Swanson.
You forgot Mr. Xander Bogaerts, Loro.
And I do think that Dansby Swanson will end up being a Dodger. Correa, I think, will end up with San Fran. And then we also have to discuss that Xander Bogaerts is a Padre, and I think that makes their lineup even scarier.
Dude,
and then you also have to – and then we also have Chris Bassett now on the Blue Jays.
A lot of fun stuff going on in the MLB free agency, a lot of moving pieces. You mentioned Xander Bogaerts to the Padres. That's probably the most shocking move I've seen. I mean, we knew the Red Sox were probably going to unload a little bit, and we knew Xander Bogaerts was probably going to walk. He almost won the batting title last year for the AL. But, I mean, Xander Bogaerts, like, this Padres team is loaded with stars, and Xander Bogaerts is just one of them. This is one of the many examples. Ryan, Xander Bogaerts is going to contribute a lot to this Padres team, wouldn't you say?
Dude, their team is loaded. I mean, my Lord. Like, you just look at Matty, if you just look at their infielder from third to first, right? Obviously, you got Machado, right? Then you got, obviously, Xander Bogaerts. But then, like, second base, you got Jake Corner. Or actually, probably, like, Jake Corner, where it's probably going to play first. And then, I don't know what they're going to do. I heard rumors that they're going to let Cronenworth play first. And then slide Kim to keep Kim at short. Slide Kim to second, keep Xander at short. And then I heard what Laura said. I think Tati's going to play left field. And then obviously you have Juan Soto and right. And then you have the center fielder I'm forgetting his name of now.
You're talking about Grisham. But I also forgot to mention that Carlos Rodon is on the Yankees' radar.
Oh, he's like the favorite for the Yankees right now.
Yep, he's the favorite to go to the Yankees.
Thank God, dude. About time.
Yeah, we also they need to get that Carlos Rodon. I think he'd be a solid addition to that rotation. I think that if you look at it, they lost Jameson Taillon. If you can replace him with a guy like Carlos Rodon, I think it would help out the rotation a lot, especially because it would give them a little what you call it, a little
spark.
Yeah, a little more depth and a little more.
Rodon's better than Taillon too.
Absolutely, you're 100% right because Taillon struggled a little bit towards the end of the season. There were actually some games where he gave up 5 runs or more. So obviously you need to cut back on that. And the Yankees rotation, it's looking like it's going to be Cole, Cortez, Sevy. If they do get Rodon, that'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
And then also Frankie Montas, according to Loro, it could happen. It could possibly happen. I mean,
gross.
And the reason why it could happen is because Montas, they invested a lot in him. They traded for him over the trade deadline last year, and he didn't really get a lot of reps. He was injured, banged up, came in the postseason, didn't look too sharp, but maybe he just needs a little bit more of a chance. We'll have to see. Our thoughts on Sean Manaea and Ross Stripling in free agency, the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah, they're just trying to spend now because they have excess money.
They do have excess money, and I think the Giants at this rate are just trying to do something to keep themselves relevant because they missed out on Aaron Judge, which was obviously the big thing for them. The rumor was that they were going to get Aaron Judge, and the magnitude just felt like Judge was going to head there. And I also wanted to say one thing: we didn't talk about this on Siriani Says Sports because it happened on a Wednesday. It happened the day after. Actually,
I appreciate John Heyman for jinxing the hell out of it. Thank you,
John Heyman.
Thank you, buddy.
Oh my God. We didn't talk about him on this show, but my God, what was that guy thinking?
John Heyman got his notifications turned off by me now. Now he's done.
Now, not only did John Heyman miss, he jumped the gun way too early. That was his problem.
Yeah.
Laurel, as far as any other free agency signings, what else do you think is going to happen in free agency? Who's going to go where?
I think Dansby Swanson will reunite with Freddie Freeman. I think Carlos Correa will be a Giant. And then I think Rodon will be a Yankee. And I also think that I think out of those big free agent names, that's what I give you. But there's rumors about Max Fried being traded from the Braves, but I don't see that happening. But if the Braves do that, it would be because they're already high on payroll. And Anthopoulos is a genius.
That's a good point. And I want to touch on this a little bit more. We brought up Fernando Tatis Jr. potentially going to the Yankees, and Laura and I talked about this before. If the Yankees do decide to get Fernando Tatis Jr., which I don't think is going to happen,
stupid. It's so dumb.
It would cost a lot.
But
you probably have to trade away prospects. You probably have to trade away Gleyber Torres. You probably have to trade away a lot of people.
It's so stupid too. Like, it's so dumb because, like, the whole point for the Yankees, right, is to call up Anthony Volpe, right? Like,
yeah.
Why would you trade for Tatis that plays the exact same position? Like, what is the point in doing that? Like, unless you're going to tell Tatis to go play second or go play third, then sure. But, like, I don't know, dude. Because, like, as much as, like, I get hot and cold on Gleyber Torres, like the amount, like you said, Matt, it's going to cost to get Tatis. And then, like, I don't know. Like, I think Tatis is a little bit overrated. Like, I think he's really good, right? But I think, like, everybody hypes him up as, like, he's, like, this star. Like, this year, he's the third best player on that team. Like, I'm sorry. He may be 4. Like, I'd take Machado, Juan Soto, and then maybe Bogarts, but I definitely take Machado and Juan Soto over Tatis right now.
That's a fair assessment because Juan Soto and Manny Machado are actually have produced over the
even though Manny Machado's like 30, 31 now, like, I'd still take, like, Tatis got to prove to me more.
Absolutely. I think you're 100% correct on that. I think that there are some Padre players that may have passed Fernando Tatis Jr. by.
I also think if it was an outfielder, I'd also say for the Yankees, then sure, but, like, it's not, like, and people can say Tatis by the outfield, like, he's not an outfielder, like, at heart. Like, he's in the outfield because that team is loaded.
Yeah, good point. And also, I just want to rehash one thing. If you do get Tatis Jr., you cause a lot of collateral confusion in the infield and outfield. Where do you put him? Where would you use him? And also, I just want to say one thing really quick. As far as the whole Fernando Tatis Jr. thing goes, I think the reason why this is happening is because he didn't play a majority of last year because he was injured and he was suspended for PEDs. So that's probably why his name has been thrown out there.
I don't think he's going to get traded. I think the Padres will keep him, and I think he can make it work in left field.
I mean, if you're the Padres, why would you keep him, right? Unless, like, a team blows you away, right? But I don't think there's any team that's going to bang the door down for Tatis right now. Especially still with Correa, especially still with Correa on the market, like, because the thing is, Tatis is still getting a lot of money. He's got a big, like, I know it's not considered like cap in the NFL, but it's like whatever. He's got like a high payroll, right? But like, and that's going to transfer to wherever team he goes. But like, if you're a team, it's like, why would you trade all that ammo for Tatis when you could just sign 28-year-old Carlos Correa?
Good point. What are your thoughts? I think we talked about this before. What's your thoughts on Laura? What are your thoughts on Sean Manaea going to the San Francisco Giants?
I think the Giants. This is just a good move for them to stabilize the rotation, but I don't think that's going to do them any good. I think they're going to get Correa, but even if they get Correa, the Giants are still going to be stuck in third place.
Yeah.
It's a good move to stabilize them, but nothing really to blow them out of the water as far as putting them over the top. Now we're going to get back into the NFL a little bit. We'll get more, and I promise once the fantasy ends, we'll get into NBA. I want to say that right now. We're going to get into NBA. Hold your horses. Don't worry. We will get into NBA soon. Don't worry. We're going to get into the NFL really quick because we each are going to have one game to break down and talk about, each of us, for the next 5 minutes or so. And then we're going to do picks based on the spread. This has been a really quick show, but I'm going to start off with Ryan and your Jets. Barely losing to the Buffalo Bills, but Mike White must have earned your respect with how tough he played. What do you guys say about this game?
Yeah, so definitely earn my respect for like Robert Saleh and Mike White. Like I said in the post game for the Vikings game, there's no moral victories, right? You gotta win, and at this point now, with the Patriots winning and the Chargers both winning, now the Jets are stuck behind both those teams now due to tiebreakers and all that for the playoffs. So now it's time for the Jets to get in high gear now. Like you got 4 winnable games now, right, against Detroit, Jacksonville, and Seattle. Right, like people can tell me like the Lions are like, and here's my thing, right? And like, am I a biased Jets fan? Of course, right? Like everybody is, right? But here's my thing. Right? Everybody's like, oh, the Lions scored this on the Vikings. The Vikings defense is terrible. And people are like, oh, the Jets only scored this. The Jets were in the red zone 5 times, kicked 3 field goals. I'm like, I'm sorry, like that's more bad offense than good defense, personally. But also the fact, like, I think the Jets match up very well against the Lions. I think they're going to put probably DJ Reed on Amon-Ra St. Brown. They're going to put Sauce Gardner probably on Jameson Williams. There's no TJ Hawkins anymore. So if you can stop Jamal Williams and you can stop DeAndre Swift, I think the Lions are very beatable. Plus, Jared Goff doesn't really scare me that much. With the Jets front 4, another big X factor for this game, Matt, is does Quinn Williams actually play? Because he did end up having a calf injury and he is day-to-day. But if Quinn Williams and Mike White are playing, I think it's a winnable game for the Jets. And then obviously Jacksonville, you got to beat them if you're a playoff team. And then Seattle,
right?
I mean, like Seattle, like they're hot and cold, right? Like they just lost to the Carolina Panthers, and like I'd say the Jets are a better team than them. So like my whole mentality right now is like if you're the Jets at 7-6, right, and you want to be a playoff team, you got to show why, and you got to beat these teams that you are better than. And I can argue with people right now that I would argue right now that Jets are better than all 3 of these teams. Coaching may be a different story, right? Like I still think Pete Carroll's one of the best coaches in football, right? Especially from what we've seen. Seattle's definitely like has a lot of talent, right? But like if you're a playoff team, and it's the same thing for like the Giants, Matty. If you want to consider yourself a big dog and compete with these playoff teams, you got to beat these teams because these are not world beaters. These are teams that you are supposed to beat if you deserve to be in the playoffs.
All right. Well, let's see what happens. I wanted to talk about the Dallas Cowboys and the Houston Texans coming down to the wire. And for those of you who picked Dallas Cowboys,
I would have won. I think it was like $500, Maddie, on the Texans. I looked at the spread, man. I was like, oh my god. I said screw it, right? I felt like $2 or like $3 on like the money line for the Texans. It was like a $450 or like $500 pay. It was like absurd, right? It was like something ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
I'm sitting there, man. I'm like, there's no way. I'm sitting there. I'm like, but it's like, you bet on this game? I'm like, yeah. He's like, why? I'm like, because the Texans line for the money line was like plus like 1,000. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, dude, embarrassing.
I could not believe it. Dak Prescott looked terrible. The Houston Texans offense led by Jeff Driscoll and a combination of Davis Mills and Jeff Driscoll. They put points on the scoreboard. They couldn't stop
Jeff Driscoll.
They couldn't stop Dameon Pierce for a little bit. Well, they stopped him at the goal line towards the end of the game. Mm-hmm. But Jeff Driscoll, oh my God. The Cowboys defense even got torched a little bit by the Texans. It was kind of amazing. I couldn't believe it.
What did I tell you, dude? Overrated Trayvon Diggs. It happens, dude. I'm telling you, you got the defensive player of the year and then overrated player of the year.
Absolutely. And also I just gotta say that when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys, they gotta win, but they shouldn't be proud of it because this is a team they should have demolished.
Dude, wait till they walk into Philadelphia, dude. Oh boy.
When they walk into Philadelphia,
when Philly comes into Dallas, oh boy. Dude, they're gonna get embarrassed in front of their home crowd by the Eagles. But just watch.
Yeah, I can see that happening because Philadelphia.
The Eagles just embarrassed the Giants, and it wasn't close.
Now I want to talk about the Giants because you just brought that up.
I'm saying because you heard what Brian Daboll said. We lost 48 to I don't know what we scored.
48-22.
No. But in his press conference, he goes, I don't know what we scored.
Oh my
In
god.
his press conference, they asked him like, "How do you like?" He basically acknowledged like we didn't score, like we got our doors blown off, and I'll let you rant about your Giants, Matty.
Okay, so here's what's gonna happen right now. The Giants are 7-5-1. They got their butts kicked by the Eagles. They got destroyed. Miles Sanders had 2 touchdown runs on him. Devontae Smith got a touchdown on 4th down of like 40-plus yards.
Can't let that happen.
Jalen Hurts just torched him on the ground and through the air. A.J. Brown just does what A.J. Brown does. The Eagle defense just looked competent. Daniel Jones. Saquon Barkley had less than 30 yards rushing. I don't get it. I don't get it. This was a team that was like beating teams by less than 1 possession, by like less than a touchdown every single game, and now they can't even compete with the best team in the league. It's kind of embarrassing.
I mean, you're saying competing with the best team in the league, Matty. I don't think there's many teams that have competed with the Philadelphia Eagles this year.
Well, the Commanders did.
I'm saying outside of them, there hasn't really been a lot of teams that have contended with the Eagles. I'll say that.
And now the Giants are in last place in the division. They're still in playoff position because the Seahawks lost to the Carolina Panthers, as Ryan mentioned. But if you look at the way the Giants have performed, they have lost 4 of their last 6 games. They're 1-4-1 in their last 6 games. So what do you do now? You turn the page. What's in the next page? You got the Commanders.
You got a playoff game on Sunday.
That's a playoff atmosphere right there. If the Giants win this game, that's huge. Why? Because then they have the tiebreaker over the Commanders at 1-0-1. And they would be a game and a half ahead of the Seattle Seahawks, pending what happens to Seattle, and the Commanders would fall out of playoff position. I still think all 4 NFC East teams have a chance to make the playoffs. I don't think they're all going to make it into the playoffs. I think either the Commanders or Giants are going to fall out. But I do think that the Giants need to put their heads in the game because they have been just lollygagging the last 6 weeks, month and a half. Ever since the Jacksonville game, things have not gone right. And it's all because of the defensive discipline has disappeared. They figured out Saquon Barkley. Daniel Jones is starting to show the cracks. And if you look at their final 4 games, they got the Commanders, like I mentioned before. They got the Vikings, which is tough, even though the Vikings aren't world beaters like the Eagles are. They are still a team that can win close games. They're 8-0 in close games.
I mean, I'll say this, Matty. The way your defense is playing, I don't know how you're stopping them on offense.
I don't know how we're gonna stop Justin Jefferson.
I don't know how you're stopping their offense, dude. Like the Eagles literally passed all over you and ran all over you. Like going against Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, T.J. Hawkinson, Justin Jefferson. Good freaking luck.
Yeah, I know. I'm scared about that. Then you got what Laura and Ryan call the Fighting Jeff Saturdays.
Hell yeah.
Which is like that could be an upset in the making. I mean, if we lost to the line, we could possibly lose to Fighting Jeff Saturdays, which is a scary feeling.
The reason we call the reason I call them that, dude, is because like they got nothing to lose. So they fight for Jeff Saturday and they just play because when you're an interim head coach, Matty, it's just like you kind of have nothing to lose. Like kind of what we're seeing with the Carolina Panthers. It's like, well, you lose. It's like, okay, you're supposed to lose. If you win, it's like, oh, cool. It's like you see them fight for it, but dude, those type of games did scare me.
Yeah, it scares me. And then you finish off the season going to Philadelphia. Unless the Eagles decide that they're going to rest their starters, which I highly doubt they're going to do.
It depends on if they're the ones you locked up. It depends.
It really depends. That might be the one saving grace for the Giants if they go into Philadelphia and the Eagles basically say, Jalen Hurts, rest. Devontae Smith, rest. A.J. Brown, rest. Miles Sanders,
You know what helped that? You know what helped the Giants cause a lot with that?
What?
Is beating the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because now I think the Vikings are 2 behind Philly?
They're 2 behind Philly.
So now you beat them again. I don't think Philly's losing 3 games. So I think if you beat them, Matty, and they end up becoming 3 games, I don't think there's a world where the Eagles lose 3 games right now.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult. I just can't really see any – they would need luck on their side. And right now, I just don't think the Giants have the –
But I also don't know, Matty, with Nick Sirianni and then with obviously the whole New York versus Philly thing. I don't even know, Matty, if they're like, if we beat the Giants, they don't get in. I don't even know if they'd rest their starters. And I think they'd just be like, you know what? Like, because of the remember the crap, Matty, they pulled in the playoffs when they there's tension there, dude. And like if it comes down to like Giants have to beat the Eagles to get in, dude, I don't even think they'd sit down. I think they'd just be like, screw you and just stick it to them, the Giants again.
Oh, are you talking about 2 years ago when Doug Peterson basically said, we're just gonna screw the Giants over by putting in Nate Sudfeld over Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, like I think like and obviously it's a different head coach, right? But I think Nick Sirianni kind of embodies Philly at this point, dude. But like, I think it's kind of just how these two organizations are, dude. And I think really, if it comes down to it, dude, it's the Giants got to beat the Eagles to get in. I think the Eagles get one last stick to the Giants and play their starters and beat you again.
Oh boy.
Then
All
now
right.
now that would suck. That would suck.
That would be terrible. That'd be a big middle finger. All right, Loro, your go with the Patriots.
I'll tell you, I mean, first half of the Patriots, they started out slow. I mean, Mac Jones again cussed out Matt Patricia and Joe. And the second half, the New England Patriots found a way to close it out. But you know what? Despite the win, we still have a lot of things that we need to be better at. And Matt Patricia just runs the same old boring offense that I'm not liking, because he would always want to do screen passes every time it's 3rd and long. And I'm like, is that going to even work? No. Matt Patricia is a fool of himself calling offensive plays, even though that his credentials are being a defensive coach.
Now, you got a big game coming up because you got Josh McDaniels on your schedule.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. I mean, Josh
Don't
McDaniels,
listen.
Bill Belichick's going to be a lot of fun. But if we beat the Raiders, then I think that we might we could finish the season on a good note here.
But we did talk about the Patriots' schedule towards the end. You got the Raiders, you got the Bengals, you got the Dolphins, you got the Bills. Those last 3 games sound really, really difficult.
Yeah, they are very difficult. But if we lose out those 3, assuming if we beat the Raiders, then we're going to be 8-9 or something like that.
You gotta get, and it's the same thing for the Jets. Laura, I think you need 10 wins to get in the playoffs, unfortunately, in this AFC. Because now, Laura, it's come down to the point, right, where there's 4 teams, not 14, but yeah, there's 3 teams fighting for one spot, right? It's right now, Laura, it's a 3-team race between the Jets, the Patriots, and the Chargers for that 7th seed. Because I think the Bengals are a lock. I think the Ravens are a lock. I think Miami's a lock. Right, I think everybody else in there's a lock. I think it's just between the Jets, Chargers, and the Patriots, unfortunately. And I think the Chargers will be the team that squeaks in because their schedule is the easiest. If you don't believe me, go check it out. I think they have like the Titans, like they have like easier things. The Jets schedule is like the 2nd easiest, and I think obviously the Patriots, like you said, with the Bengals, the Raiders, the Dolphins, and the Bills is not ideal.
No, it is not. All right, so Laurel's looking at an 8-9 start for the Patriots, 8-9 finish for the Patriots. Ryan is somewhat optimistic.
Cautiously optimistic.
Me, I'm terrified.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Matty. Cautiously optimistic is the next word for terrified.
I'm terrified.
I'm terrified
All right.
too, dude.
All right, so we're going to end the show with the one thing that we all love to do, and that's pick based on the spread. And
Dude, I had a bad week last week. Bad.
I had a horrific week.
I think I got like 4 wins. Bad week.
Bad week. All right. So this is week 15. No more buys. Everyone's playing for the final 4 weeks of the season. No buys, 16 games. Ryan, let's start it off. What do we got?
Let's get it. Thursday night, San Francisco 49ers at Seattle Seahawks. It is the Niners -3.5.
Ryan's hoping Kenneth Walker the third plays. The San Francisco 49ers have proved one thing. It's their defense is so good. Brock Purdy looks phenomenal in his debut, but he has no oblique injury. He might be questionable, but he should be fine. Seattle's a tough environment to play in. Geno Smith had one of his mediocre games. He threw 3 touchdown passes, but he also threw 2 interceptions. If the Seattle Seahawks don't have Kenneth Walker and they go running back by committee against the San Francisco defense, I don't know if the Seahawks can pull it off. So for the time being, I'm going to say San Francisco covers -3.5, but it's going to be close.
I'm going to go Seattle Seahawks cover +3.5.
All right, Laura, what do you think?
I am going to go with the 49ers to beat the Seattle Seahawks.
All right, what's next?
Next, Matty, 3 games on Saturday. First off, the Fighting Jeff Saturdays against the Minnesota Vikings, and it's the Vikings -4.5.
The Fighting Jeff Saturdays. Oh, the Fighting Jeff Saturdays.
Yeah.
The Minnesota Vikings are so good, though. What's the spread?
3.5 or -4.5 for the Vikings.
-4.5 Minnesota. I think I'd take that. I'm going to go Minnesota -4.5.
Yeah, I think so too. Because I think now the Vikings need to win two now to clinch. So I think they're 2 games away from clinching the NFC North. So I'm gonna take the Vikings in this too.
All right, Laura, what do you think?
This is tough. I mean, as much as I love the Fighting Jeff Saturdays and the grit that the Colts have had playing for Jeff Saturday, I got to go with the Vikings here. The Vikings just came off a rough loss to the Lions. I don't see the Vikings losing 2 in a row.
Yeah, I don't see that either. All right, what's next?
Next, Maddie, Baltimore Ravens at Cleveland Browns. Browns -2.5.
And the reason why the Browns are favored by 2.5 is because we could possibly see Anthony Brown start at quarterback. If the Browns, Deshaun Watson still looks a little rusty. He still does. And this Browns offense is very, very mediocre. I will say this, though. I think the Raven defense is good enough to help Anthony Brown. And I think that unless the Ravens run a lot of running plays and they make Anthony Brown feel comfortable in the pocket and the offensive line is good enough, I think the Browns have a shot, but I'm going to say the Ravens +2.5 here.
To the Ravens?
Yeah, I'm taking the Ravens +2.5.
I think the Browns, because I don't know if Tyler Huntley's going to play, and I don't trust Tyler Huntley against this Browns defense. Obviously, I think Myles Garrett's obviously a god, right? But I think Deshaun Watson's finally getting his feet underneath him again. Obviously, we saw him not have his best game, not like the Deshaun Watson levels, but we've seen it. We've seen him kind of just show the flashes that we've seen of Deshaun Watson. I think in his third game, I think he's going to really kind of let loose again.
All right, Laura, what do you think? Browns, Ravens, Browns -2.5.
I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns. I mean, the Ravens don't have Lamar Jackson, though, but, if Deshaun Watson can have a good game, then I could see the Browns winning this football game.
Okay, what's next?
Next, Miami Dolphins, Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills -7.5.
-7.5 in freezing cold Buffalo.
Yeah.
The Miami Dolphins went from looking like one of the better offenses in the league to being out of sorts after a 2-game West Coast trip where they were outplayed by San Francisco and Los Angeles, the Chargers. And Tua needs to find his grip again. Tyreek Hill's dealing with an ankle injury. And also there's just a lot of stuff that's going wrong that hasn't really gone as planned for the Miami Dolphins. And as much as I want to say the Dolphins have a chance to knock off the Buffalo Bills, I just think the Buffalo Bills have the home field advantage. They have the weather conditions. They got Miami in freezing cold weather. Tua's not playing his best football right now. I think I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills -7.5.
I agree with you.
Laura, what do you think?
I'm actually going to go with the Miami Dolphins. Tua in the snow, this is a big test for him, but I have a lot of confidence in him in heading into this game.
There's supposed to be 7 inches of snow, as Laura indicated. What's next?
Next, man, we're moving to Sunday. Atlanta Falcons at New Orleans Saints in the Dome, and it is the Saints -3.5.
All right, so it's Saints-Falcons. Falcons are going to start Desmond Ridder. Gets the chance to see what Desmond Ridder has to show. He was really good at Cincinnati. But the New Orleans Saints are a joke. They're a 4-win team. The Falcons are a 5-win team, but the 5-win team and the Falcons actually have a chance to win the division. But as long as Tom Brady's playing, I really don't know what to expect here. I'm going to go with the Falcons -2.5.
No, Falcons +3.5.
Falcons +3.5. So the Saints are favored by 3.5. I'm going to take the Falcons +3.5 here. I think that Desmond Ridder is going to get some luck in his debut.
I don't. I think Desmond Ridder is going to get, unfortunately, the rookie curse. And I think this is, as much as we want to say a bad Saints team, their defense is still pretty good. Their offense is putrid. But I think, Maddie, against a rookie quarterback, I think Dennis Allen and his defense are going to expose him.
All right, Laura, what do you think?
I am going to go with the Atlanta Falcons. Desmond Ridder in his first NFL start. Welcome to the NFL. And I think that he can take advantage of a bad Saints defense.
All right, what's next?
Next, Maddie, Philadelphia Eagles, Chicago Bears, Eagles -8.5.
That spread should be much larger.
Well,
because
it's in Chicago, so usually they subtract 3. So technically, Maddie, this is an 11.5 point spread for Philly. Technically, it should be 11.5.
The Eagles, the Bears defense is not good. Justin Fields is like the lone bright spot, but he's banged up. The Eagles could actually get one step closer to clinching the division with a win. And a Cowboys loss that would put them 3 games up, and then they'd have this Week 16 encounter. And I think from there, the Philadelphia Eagles are going to take on full control. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are the best team in the NFL, and they're going to prove in a dominant way. They're going to continue to blow out teams, and I think they do that to the Chicago Bears. I'm going to take the Eagles at minus 8.5 easily.
Yeah, Eagles.
Laurel, fly, Eagles, fly.
Yeah, fly, Eagles, fly for me.
All right, what's next?
Next, Maddie. Detroit Lions, New York Jets. It is the Lions minus 0.5.
So this is close to a pick'em.
Essentially, yeah.
It's close to a pick'em. Okay, so this is practically a given game. You can pick whoever you want as long as they win by half a point. These are 2 teams that are fighting for playoff position. The Lions. They've won 5 of their last 6. They were 1-6. We thought they were dead in the water, but they've slowly fought back. And Dan Campbell is starting to come into fruition. We're starting to see those Lions teams start to play the way that he wants to be playing. They're not biting kneecaps off, but they're playing really competitive football. They got a big one over the Vikings. You know what, Ron? I hate to do this to you, but I got to go with the Detroit Lions here.
All right, fair enough. I'm going to go with the Jets.
All right, Lauro, you're the tiebreaker. Jets or Lions?
I'm going to go with the Lions. The Fighting
sure
Dan
you
Campbells are going to continue to fight.
All right, what's next?
All right, fair enough. Next, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers minus 2.5.
Ask me if I care about this game.
I don't.
Neither do I. Laura, do you care about this game?
No.
None of us care about this game. In all seriousness, though, I think I know with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think, actually, no, I'm going to go with the Carolina Panthers. No, Kenny Pickett's a problem.
Are we sure Kenny Pickett's not playing?
Well,
No, he's ruled out because he has a concussion.
Okay, I didn't. All right, he is. All right, fair enough.
Yeah, if this is the Mitchell Trubisky show, there's no way Pittsburgh's winning this game. I got to go with the Panthers.
All right, yeah, I agree. If it's the Mitch Trubisky show.
Same thing, Lauro?
I'm going to go with the I actually think Carolina's probably not going to win this game. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh as well. I think Trubisky – look, the Panthers' defense is not good. I mean, if Trubisky can be a game manager, that's going to help big time for the Steelers.
Okay. All right, what's next?
Next, Maddie, we got the Dallas Cowboys and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jesus Christ. And it's the Dallas Cowboys minus 4.5.
Dallas Cowboys minus 4.5 after they just barely squeaked by the Texans. They're favored by 4.5 points. And it's the Jaguars team that actually knows how to blow out teams now. They destroyed the Tennessee Titans in Tennessee. And the Jaguars are still alive in the division hunt for the AFC South. They're still alive. Barely, but they're still alive. The Dallas Cowboys, is this in Jerry's world?
It is not. It is in Jacksonville.
This game might be closer than most people think. You know what? I'm going to take Jacksonville plus 4.5 here. I think this Jacksonville offense is going to light up that Cowboys defense.
Yeah. Nah, I'm going to take Dallas.
All right, Laura, what do you think?
I'm going to go Jacksonville. I think that, like you said, the offense of the Jaguars will light up Dallas's defense.
All right, what's next?
Next, Kansas City Chiefs, Houston Texans. Chiefs minus 13.5.
13.5.
We said it about Dallas last week, Manny. We got burned.
And you know what? The Broncos actually put up a fight against the Denver Broncos.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying against Dallas when it was them favored by like 20, whatever it was. Ridiculous.
17.
And guess what, man? I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to go with the Chiefs. So,
fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, I don't know what the saying is. I'm going to go with the Chiefs minus 13.5. Laura, what do you think?
Going to go Kansas City. I think the Texans got to be shut out here.
Shut out. Wow. What's next?
I didn't give Houston a chance last week, but they proved me wrong offensively. They played hard.
Yeah, but now Damian Pierce is going to be out for 3 weeks, and that's going to be a problem for them.
Yeah. Arizona Cardinals, Maddie. Denver Broncos. Denver
Yuck.
Broncos minus 2.5. Let's ride.
Ew.
Yuck.
Let's
Yuck.
ride.
Ew.
Broncos country. Let's ride.
I'm going to go Broncos country as well. No Kyler Murray, big problems. What's up, Laurel?
Give me the Denver Broncos for this game. Without Kyler Murray, the Cardinals are probably going to get exposed. I don't trust Colt McCoy against the Broncos defense.
Neither do I. What's
It's
next?
going to be I think it's going to be a fluke game, but I do think it's going to be a fluke win for either team.
Yeah, exactly. What's next?
Another pick 'em. The New England Patriots, Vegas Raiders, 0.5.
That's a pick 'em?
0.5
Oh, my.
for the
That just shows you
Patriots.
the disrespect that they have for both these teams. Oh,
Man.
my God. Tough one. But you know what? Josh McDaniels is 1-0 all time against Bill Belichick, even though that win was back in 2009. I got to go with the Patriots.
I'm going Patriots too. McDaniels will be 1-1 against Belichick.
All right, Ryan, what do you think?
I'm going to go with the Raiders.
Ooh, okay. What's next?
Next, Matty. Titans, Chargers. Chargers minus 2.5.
Chargers minus 2.5. The Chargers are at home. They look really good offensively. They got Mike Williams back. He looks sensational. This Titans team is reeling. They're reeling right now. They fired the general manager. They lost. They got blown out by Jacksonville. They're still holding on to the AFC South title, but barely. I go with the Chargers here. I'm going to take the minus 2.5. Ryan, what do you think?
I'm going to go with the Chargers as well.
Loro?
I'm going to go with the Chargers as well.
Clean sweep. What's next?
Next, Matty. Cincinnati Bengals, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bengals minus 3.5.
Tom Brady. Your new girlfriend is cute, but your offense is ugly. Oh, my God. Joe Burrow and the Bengals have been lighting it up offensively. Ever since that win against the Chiefs, they've looked dominant. And also, Jamar Chase has been electric since he came back. I got with the Bengals here. I think this is just going to be somewhat of a disappointment game for Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm going to go Cincinnati Bengals, too. I don't think the Bucs are competing with them offensively.
What do you think, Laurel?
I'm going to go with the Bengals. I think Bengals offense is going to light up the defense, and I think that the Bengals defense has been playing great lately.
They have. What's next?
2 more games, Matty. Your New York Giants and the Washington Commanders. Commanders minus 4.5.
Laurel and I are calling this game on Twitter Spaces. I'm nervous as hell about this game. The Commanders are favored by how much?
4.5.
I'm going to use my Giant optimism one more time. I'm going to take the Giants plus 4.5. I don't know why. I'm just going to pray that my optimism works. What do you think, Ryan?
I'm going to go with the Commanders. Sorry, Matty.
All right, Laura, what do you think?
Better roster, Washington Commanders. I think the Giants, I like Daboll. I mean, the coaching has been great for the Giants, but the Giants are on a big collapse right here.
Oh, man. What's next?
Next, Matty. The last game, the Baker Mayfield-led LA Rams against the Aaron Rodgers Packers. And it's the Packers minus 7.5 in cold Lambeau.
In Cole Lambeau Field. This is also a game Laura and I are calling on Twitter Spaces. This is very, very this is a battle between two teams that are basically trying to stay alive at the worst possible time. Baker Mayfield looked good in his one game against as the Los Angeles Rams starting quarterback, but it's not going to be good long term for Baker Mayfield. I think the Packers defense is actually going to get themselves another life. They're like cats; they have 9 lives, and they're going to get themselves another life by being the Baker Mayfield-led LA Rams without Cooper Kupp. And I think that the Packers use the home field advantage to their advantage. I think I'm going to go with the Packers. Ryan?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Packers.
All right, Lover, what do you think?
Green Bay Packers.
All right. So those are pick picks on the spread. And this is brought to you by Siriani Sports and also Yahoo Sports. Because
Again,
Yahoo Sports.
What I will say is do not bet what you cannot lose.
Do not bet what you cannot lose. Good. Those are words of wisdom. That's a good PSA. All right, but anyway, we got to get going. But Siriani Sports, you can find us on the following social media. On Facebook at Siriani Sports, on Twitter at Siriani Sports, on Instagram at Siriani Sports, and on YouTube at Siriani Sports. And also, you can find us on Twitter Spaces. At Laurel the Homie is the main guy where we do our Twitter Spaces. He puts up the Twitter Spaces, and Laurel and I do our Colorcast, or do our commentary there. Colorcast will become a sports betting site called Outlier in the near future. So please do not follow us on Colorcast because it will not be around much longer. But anyway, For Ryan Brennan Jr., Laura Antonio, I'm Matt Siriani. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us on tonight's show. Stay safe. Have a great holiday if you're celebrating already or early. And make sure you get that Christmas shopping done. So take care. Have fun. Stay safe. And, of course, peace out.
Good night, everyone.
Night.